Salam, I'm Layla, and today is the first session of learning Farsi with me in the beginner level in the world of Farsi. Let's talk shortly about the roots of this language. Probably you're already familiar with this branch of languages called Indo-European languages, which itself divides into European languages and Indo-Iranian languages. The branch of Indo-Iranian divides into Indic languages and Iranian languages. In the Iranian languages, we have chronologically Old Persian, Middle Persian or Pahlavi, and Modern Persian. Modern Persian is the language which is spoken today, mainly in Iran, Afghanistan, and Tajikistan, and partly in some other regions. This language has hardly changed during the last centuries, so if you learn Farsi, the rich literary treasury of this language unfolds before you. Now I would like to explain to you some features of Farsi. After the Arabs' conquest of Persia in around 630-40, the Arabic alphabet was adopted in Iran in order to write official documents. Gradually, it took over Pahlavi alphabet. The Persian alphabet has 32 letters but only 29 phonemes due to the difference in pronunciation between Arabic and Farsi. The Persian alphabet is written from right to left. The order of words are subject, object, and verb. Most letters are connected depending on their place in the word, and most importantly, there is no grammatical gender in Farsi, so nouns, pronouns, and adjectives do not take any grammatical affixes. But enough with chit-chatting. Let's get to the practical part. In Farsi, we have 6 vowels, 3 long vowels, and 3 short vowels. Today, we will learn 2 long vowels, 1 short vowel, and 4 consonants. Then we will learn how to introduce ourselves in Farsi. Let's start with the first long vowel. The first long vowel that we'll learn today is A, as in English words car, bar, Sarah. A can only be connected to other letters in a word from the right side. So if we want to write it in the beginning of a word, we should start from top to bottom and write in a straight line, exactly like this. So from upper side downward. And then we put something in Farsi called kolah, hat, over this A. We start from the right side, we come a bit downward, then to the left, and again downward. So this is something called hat, and this form of writing A comes only in the beginning of a word or when the word is not connected to other letters. Then if A comes in the middle or at the end of a word, we should write it like this. Actually, it is exactly the same as the A with the hat, but this time we ignore the hat and we write in a straight line from top to bottom. Exactly like this. So don't forget, A can only be connected from the right side. The next vowel is the short vowel A, like in English words apple, man, hat. When we want to write it in the beginning of a word, we start from top to bottom, exactly like A, but this time instead of a hat over A, we just put a short sign like this. When A comes in the middle of a word, we just write this sign over that letter. And in A, exactly like other short vowels in Farsi, you can just ignore writing it. But of course you read it, but in writing you can ignore it. And A does not normally come at the end of a word, except for some exceptions. The next vowel is the long vowel E, like the words mean, sheep, bean. When it comes in the beginning of a word, we start from top to bottom exactly like a and a. And then we start from top and then we write small line, then from right to left, and then 2 dots under E. Exactly like this. So you start from top to bottom and then from right to left. But it must be smaller than A, than Aleph. Then when it comes in the middle of a word, we just write it exactly like E in the beginning, but this time without the Aleph, without A. So exactly like this, from top to bottom, from right to left, and with 2 dots under it. When it comes in the end of a word, it's a bit harder, but we start from the right side, we make a half circle downward, then a half circle again on the other direction downward, and then we come upward. So we do it again from the right side, then to the left, make a half circle downward, we change the direction and make another half circle and we go upward. Don't forget, E can be connected to other letters from the both sides. Okay, now take a look at the printed version of letters. Pay attention to my mouth and try to repeat after me. The first vowel is the long vowel A. A. The second is the short vowel A. A. The third is the long vowel E. E. Let's proceed with consonants. The first consonant is B, as in English words bat, bill, beat. When it comes in the beginning or in the middle of a word, we start from top to bottom and from right to left with 1 dot underneath. And when it comes at the end of a word, we start from top to bottom, then from right to left, but this time we extend it. We write it longer than usual. And then at the end of the letter, we just make it upward. Exactly like this. Don't forget, B can be connected to other letters from both sides. Okay, now is the time for the example. The first example for B is water. Ob, ob. So we write A in the beginning of a word, A, and then comes B at the end. So we write it longer than the usual B with a dot underneath. Ob, ob. Then the next word is baba, father. Dad, actually, dad is better. Baba. So B in the beginning, then A in the middle. So they should be connected together with a dot underneath. Then A cannot be connected from the left side. So we write B separately and then again we connect it to A. Ba, 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 ba. The next consonant is P. P, as in English words penguin, pipe. We write it exactly like B, so from top to down, from right to left, but this time with 3 dots underneath. When it is in the beginning or in the middle, we write it shorter, but when it comes at the end of the word, we write it longer. P, exactly like B, can be connected to other letters from both sides. Now let's take a look at the examples. Paw, leg, or foot. Both is correct in Farsi. Paw. So we write pe in the beginning and then we connect it to a because a in the middle should be connected from the right side. Paw. And then we have peep. Peep. So pe in the beginning, then e in the middle, the long vowel e. P. Und dann the consonant P at the end. So we write it like this, longer than the normal P. Peep, peep. The next consonant is T, like the English word tooth. T, we write it exactly like B and P, but this time in T we write 2 dots over T. When it comes in the beginning of a word, we write it shorter, but when it comes at the end of our word, we write it longer. Te can be connected to other letters from both sides. And here comes the examples. Top, top swing. So te in the beginning, then a in the middle, ta, and then comes b at the end. Top. Why a and b are not connected together? Because a cannot be connected to other letters from the left side. Top. Then tap. Tap. T in the beginning. Then we have the short vowel a. So we put it just over our letter T. Ta. And then comes b at the end of our word. So we write it longer. Tap, tap, fever. The next consonant is se, like the English word house. We write se with 3 teeth, with 3 jacks. So we start from top to bottom, then we make a half circle, then we go upward, we go downward, we go upward, downward, and then to the left. We extend it shortly. So this is when se is written in the beginning or in the middle of a word. But when we want to write it at the end of a word, we write the 3 jacks exactly the same as say in the beginning, but this time we make a big half circle and then we make it upward. So, like the say in the beginning, we start writing the jacks from top to bottom, then upward, downward, upward, but this time downward and a big half circle. Exactly like this. Se can be connected to other letters from both sides. Okay, now is the time for some examples. Apple. What is apple in Farsi? It's seeb. Seeb. So we start writing with se in the beginning with 3 teeth, and then we have e in the middle, the long vowel e, and comes at the end be. Be, seeb. So se can be connected from both sides, but when it comes in the beginning, we write it like this. Then comes e, the long vowel e. It is in the middle, so we write it like this, and it connects to other letters in the right and left, and at the end comes be. The next word is asp. Asp. Then we write a in the beginning with this small sign over it. Then comes se, asp, and then be. at the end. Why A and C are not connected together here? Because A cannot be connected to other letters from the left side. So we write them separately. Asp, horse. Now try to pay attention to my pronunciation and try to repeat after me. So the first consonant was B. B. Ab. Abi. Ba. Then the next one is P. P. Pa. Peep. Pop. Then we have the next consonant, T. Top. Top. Tap. Tap. Beta. Beta. Then the last consonant was Se. Seep. Seep. Asp. Asp. Bass. Bass. Now is the best time to have some exercise. This exercise is very simple. You must listen to my pronunciation very carefully and try to write for number 1 to 5 the first letter that you hear, and for number 6 to 10 the last letter that you hear. Let's start with number 1. Baran. Baran. Tir. Tir. 3. Sar. Sar. 4. Iran. Iran. 5. Ash. Ash. Number 6, then from 6 to 10 you should write the last letter. Dast. Dast. 7. Police. Police. 8. Bini. Bini. 9. Tanha. Tanha. And number 10 is the short vowel A. Okay? Tar. Tar. Then, of course, you should not write it at the end, but in the middle. Tar. Okay. Try to write this exercise yourself in a piece of paper, and afterwards watch the rest of the video in which you will see the answers. Let's see the correct answers. Number 1, Baran. It was B. Number 2, Tir. It was T. Number 3, Sar. It was Se. Number 4, Iran. It was the long vowel E. Iran. Number 5, Ash. Number 6, Dast. T. Number 7, Police. Police. So the consonant Se. Number 8, بینی بینی the long vowel E. Number 9 تنها تنها the long vowel A. And the last one تر تر the short vowel A. Then we will write it, we should write it over T. Actually, we can also omit it and not write it, but since we have just begun, I ask you to write the short vowels as well. Then afterwards, after some months, then you will learn not to write it and how easily read the words that have actually the vowel A, E, and O, but we do not write them. Now that we have learned some alphabets in Farsi, it is the best time to learn how to introduce ourselves in this language. On the right side, we have Maryam, and on the left, there is Behzad. They have just met and they want to know each other better. Listen carefully to the conversation.
سلام.
Salam.
اسم من بهزاده. اسم تو چیه؟
اسم من مریمه. As for the conversation, the best way to practice is to pause the video after each sentence and try to repeat after it. Then you can have a small talk and introduce yourself to a friend of yours who's also interested in learning Farsi, or you can use this formula and write your name downwards so we can also know each other better. If you have not subscribed to the channel yet, do it right now, and if you click on the bell, whenever I post a new video, you will be informed. So until next week, practice what you've learned today, and if you have any kind of question, just leave a comment. I will do my best to answer your questions. تا هفته دیگه، خدا نگهدار.